Hello and welcome to News 6 Extra. I am streaming executive producer Thomas Mates, filling in for Julie Broughton. She has the day off, although we will be seeing her in a few minutes. She has a package for us, or a story for us today, about how you can get prepared for hurricane season. We are just about a week away from the start of hurricane season, a little less even. It starts on Sunday, and now is the time to get everything in order, get all your ducks in a row, get all your supplies ready in case that storm, and it only takes the one storm in case a storm heads our way. So we'll have that story coming up in a few minutes. We'll also get a look with Michelle Morgan about generator safety and what you need to know about running a generator in your home. We know we have a lot of brand new Floridians here who may not have gone through a storm already, so they need to get some hands-on experience with their equipment before the storm actually comes, before you need it. It's better to be prepared than having to get prepared. So we'll take a look at all of that in just a few minutes, and we'll also get an investigation from News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden, taking a look at how con artists are targeting people's Netflix accounts to get their personal information. All that'll be coming up in just a second, but as I said, it is about a week before hurricane season, and we want you to get prepared. So to start out, we are going to be talking with News 6 meteorologist, oops, sorry, one more second. There we go. News 6 meteorologist David Nazario joining us now. I clicked the wrong button and queued up the wrong video. David, there you are. David, right now, I mean, we're a week out. It's not officially started yet. There's nothing of immediate concern in the tropics, but that doesn't mean there's nothing to watch.
Exactly. So to tell you the truth, we are only days away from the calendar start of the hurricane season, and believe it or not, from a large-scale weather perspective, there already is an area of interest that we're going to be monitoring. Now, it isn't highlighted by the National Hurricane Center just yet, and that's why I want to emphasize that in the grand scheme, the large picture weather pattern, conditions might be conducive for something tropical to attempt to flare up. I wrote an article today kind of breaking down the science over on clickorlando.com if you want to check that out. But let's go ahead and get into what the countdown looks like. So as you can see here, per our handy-dandy tropical countdown here, we have 5 days till the start of the Atlantic hurricane season. So as Thomas mentioned, if you haven't dialed in your preparations, now is the time to finish those up. Get those plans buttoned up and ready to rock and roll from June 1st all the way out to November 30th. And if you'd like more information on that during our hurricane week or even after the fact, we're going to continue to roll out content explaining and breaking down exactly what that looks like for you. We're not saying run to the grocery store or the department store and get everything you need right now. There's layers. They're kind of like ogres and onions. There's layers to the preparation that you'd have in place for a hurricane season. And now, with that being said, let's take a quick look at what it is that we're tracking down there. So it's been a long time since we've brought this up, to tell you the truth. And I want to go ahead and use my famous, well, one of my many famous catchphrases, we're back. As you can see here, we've got our tropical probabilities pulled up. This is courtesy of the European Ensemble computer model, which is a ton of different individual computer members kind of generating where it is we might see some tropical action. And as you can see, there is that fateful corridor that begins to build 2 weekends from now down in the southern and western Caribbean and slowly lifts off towards the north. Now, this is going to be a tricky setup because, again, in the big picture, we have what's called the Madden-Julian oscillation coming right on through, which helps to effectively stir the tropical pot, if you will, kind of get the brew steaming over, helps to increase our lift, our moisture, our thunderstorm activity. So if there's anything that isn't currently spinning out there or is a little worse for wear, that MJL kind of acts like a supplement, almost like a pre-workout supplement to any bits of energy that could be floating around in the Caribbean, Central America, even in the Eastern Pacific, which is one of our potential fail modes, as they're called. So we are going to be watching this area. The color coding does a fantastic job of giving us a first look as to where we need to be watching for other ingredients to come together. Finally, moving right along, I'm going to take you over to the European model. Let's take this full screen because, to tell you the truth, if we were to see anything from whatever this thing could possibly be, I'm giving it a very modest ceiling. And when I say ceiling, I mean a max expected intensity with a giant if anything were to take shape. It's still June, folks, so climatologically speaking, we will be in the hurricane season, absolutely. So Obviously, there could be a named storm on the horizon if things stay conducive for that, but it's not like we're going to have some kind of a Cat 3 or Cat 4 headed our way. This would be a sloppy rainmaker, which in reality would probably be a blessing for most of Central Florida. Now, if I take you through the European model, watch slowly what happens as we get into that weekend in the month of June. Watch what happens to our winds off our west coast. You can start to see them beginning to pick up a little steam right there. And then notice there's a little sloppy something something right off our west coast. And again, if I were to zoom you on in, it's very difficult to discern where it is an area of circulation would be on this model. And the reason I want to bring this up first and foremost, though, is usually the Euro is very frugal with building these things to begin with. It's usually the GFS that gives you that social media candy to post on your Instagram or your TikTok and say, look, Cat 4's coming our way. But in this case, it's the Euro that's actually depicting and has been depicting throughout the Memorial Day weekend an area of low pressure that could try to stir itself up in the Caribbean and then lift towards the north. So, with that being said, let's take you through some of the different fail modes as to how this might not happen at all. First and foremost, just a quick glance showing you the simulated infrared model, courtesy of the Euro. Watch what happens as that area begins to form up. Look at that. Very stretched out area of heavy rainfall, storms, and kind of gusty winds built into this, but it's very asymmetrical. It's not that perfect circle of tropical energy that we typically look for those bona fide named storms. So a bit of a toss up. We're going to keep watching this very closely. We've got lots of lead time here to stay ahead of this puppy. Obviously, the water temperatures down there are fairly warm. In fact, you look at much of the Atlantic basin, and a majority of our hot water is in the Caribbean and off either one of our coastlines, whether you go to the West Coast or the East Coast. I personally was out in Sarasota over the Memorial Day weekend, and when I got in the water, I was expecting to tense up, especially on the West Coast of Florida. You get in the water, and it's like, okay, I got to get used to this. Nope. Nope, folks. I can definitely tell you. I walked in, and I'm like, did somebody pee in the water? Because I'm not even joking. It was definitely on the warm side. Those shelf waters and that subtropical ridging that's been off our west coast has created those above average water temperatures on either one of our coastlines of the Florida Peninsula. So now, upper level setup. We have a trough that's going to be digging down over the next several days right there as we get into that ever anticipated weekend of June, looking downrange about 10 to 12 days. You can see that trough is going to act like a magnet and pull all that stuff up away from Central America. That's what caused Sarah to crash into Honduras and Nicaragua last hurricane season, if you all remember. It was the opposite effect. We had a big old ridge out here still, and that's what helped to kind of give us a protective barrier from Tropical Storm Sarah developing further and then moving up towards Florida. Opposite influence this time, but since we're looking at a much more raggedy looking system, that wind shear you can see over the Gulf moving through the Florida Peninsula as that energy gets pulled north actually could completely chop it down like a tree, metaphorically speaking. So it may not do anything besides just give us an increase in our rain showers and our thunderstorms over Central Florida. So all in all, kind of a mixed bag of positives and negatives. Obviously we don't ever really want a tropical cyclone to head our way, but in this case, when we talk in terms of brush fire and drought conditions, it might be a good thing, especially if we can avoid another Helene or Milton. We'll take all the rain we can get to help bring us out of those extreme drought conditions that are still plaguing the bottom 1/3 of the peninsula. I want to bring this up. Last hurricane season, 2024, taught us a lot of lessons. The climatology didn't quite do its thing. During August and much of September, we were looking at a very quiet Atlantic with a lot of activity to include Major Hurricane Beryl during the first couple months of the hurricane season. And then, as we all know, Helene, Milton, and everybody else that followed suit towards the back end, especially into October and the first couple weeks of November, it was a very lopsided hurricane season. My interview with Dr. Phil Klotzbach, that is currently in circulation over on News 6 Plus and on clickorlando.com for your viewage, kind of goes over that as well. Even the experts at CSU were thinking it was a very weird hurricane season. We may be looking at much of the same this time around. But in terms of the chart here, it wouldn't be all that abnormal to get a tropical storm as we rock into June, since we are officially in the hurricane season. So now we're not going to beat that with a dead stick, or we're not going to beat that horse. You know the saying I'm trying to say. My brain kind of got fried up for a second. But anyways, let's move on to some local weather. Our severe risk has now pushed off towards the north. We're not looking at any kind of severe weather potential, although whenever we have those sea breeze thunderstorms rocking through Central Florida, some of them may try to occasionally drop some hail. We've had a lot of hail situations reported here in Central and South Florida over the last few days, and those gusty, damaging winds that could knock out your power. You see, as we go through Monday, that textbook sea breeze collision is expected to take shape, and it is going to hang around for your Tuesday and into your Wednesday as well, since we are starting to see a bit more of that moisture lifting up from the south. So pretty much a rinse, lather, and repeat type of scenario between the first half of the day up until about 3, 4 o'clock. Not a whole lot besides partly cloudy skies, hot temperatures out there. And then as we get beyond 4 o'clock, that sea breeze is going to likely activate. Here's a look at your quick hour by hour. You see by 3 p.m. on your Memorial Day planner, that is when those thunderstorms and scattered showers are going to begin to build and persist until about the sunset time frame. And then last but certainly not least, to take you out on your extended 7-day forecast. And you can see here we are keeping the rain chances in the mix for the next 7 days. And it is not that weekend as we rock into June 1st on that upcoming Sunday. It is the following weekend. We're going to keep our eyes glued to that situation down in the Caribbean to see if we're going to be seeing Tropical Storm Andrea as we go over the next 10 to 14 days.
Definitely a lot to keep track of, but we know that it's the time of year. It's the season. No one should be surprised that something might pop up sometime in the relative to near future. But, fingers crossed it's just the sloppy rainmaker that you're predicting.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It'll be beneficial pretty much however way you cut. It might get a little windy if this thing does try to organize a little bit further, but we've got lots of time to dissect all the data every step of the way and bring you all the information you need to stay ahead of the storm.
Absolutely. David, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. I know that we'll be turning to you a lot this upcoming hurricane season, so we'll be seeing more and more of you. All right.
Yes,
excellent.
Absolutely.
All right. You have a good day.
You too, Thomas. Thank you.
All right, now we're going to take a look at a story that Julie Broughton filed before she had her day off. We all know that now is the time to get prepared ahead of any storms, and even seasoned Floridians need to have their preparations in order. Sometimes, we build that hurricane kit and then we don't use it for a while. We lose track of things. So it's important to get that refresh in now while you can of any items that may have expired or just it's best to have something new and fresh. News 6 meteorologist Julie Broughton has more.
We keep reminding you right now is the time to get prepared for hurricane season. So I just got off clickorlando.com/hurricane. I have my supplied checklist printed out. We're heading into Target, so let's go get stocked up. We are off to find water. Remember the water we always tell you to put in your bathtub? That's not to drink. That water is actually for flushing the toilet if you lose water. So we're off to find gallons of water. You need 1 gallon of water for every member of your household for 3 to 7 days. When you're looking for water, you need 1 gallon per member of your household per day for 3 to 7 days. This one has 2.5 gallons in it. Let's go find non-perishable food. So think about items that you don't need a microwave or a stove and don't require refrigeration. So things like granola bars are a good option, and also these little fruit cups that don't have to be refrigerated, those are good too. If you're looking at canned items and they don't have a little pop top like that, you need to make sure you have a manual can opener. Next step. It's also a good idea to grab some of these Ziploc bags in the 1 gallon size. You can freeze water in them, and you can also put your important documents and paper in them to protect them in case you have flooding or water damage. You also want to make sure you have 2 weeks worth of prescriptions, and while you're there, if you don't already have a first aid kit, it's good to pick one of those up as well. So here we have one right here. So next on our list, we need flashlights and batteries. So checking things out here. This is cool. This comes with 2 flashlights and it comes with the batteries as well. You want to make sure you have plenty of batteries. Right here in the same aisle, it's always a good idea to have a carbon monoxide alarm if you don't already have one. This one is 27 bucks. A couple of options for fire extinguishers. We have this easy fire spray and also just your regular garage fire extinguisher right here. So we'll grab both of those. And don't forget to get some extra personal care items and toiletries and any over-the-counter medication you think you may need. If you have pets, don't forget about them. Make sure they have enough enough food, medication, and supplies for a few days, it's also a good idea to have a portable phone charger on hand in case you lose power. You can find a full list at clickorlando.com/hurricane.
Now, I mean, part of your preparations, you may decide to also purchase a generator, but generators can be dangerous. We've done many, many stories about people experiencing carbon monoxide poisoning from improperly using their generators. If you're a new Floridian, this may be your first time using a generator if you've just gone out and gotten one. So we sent News 6 meteorologist Michelle Morgan to go speak with the experts about how best to handle those machines and how to keep your family safe while using them.
So this is actually a smaller style generator. This is one that you're going to probably, if you're a last minute person, you're going to be able to get your hands on.
Michael Vita is the fire marshal for Lake County Fire Rescue. He's seen firsthand what could go wrong with generators.
We get burn injuries.
And carbon monoxide poisoning.
Dizziness, nausea, and all that stuff. So we'll go out there.
To avoid this, Vita says to keep your generator outside, away from anything that can catch fire like mulch. And make sure the exhaust is pointing away from you and your neighbors.
And what we see a lot of is people want to protect their assets. They bought it at a store, and sometimes they want to put it inside a garage with even the door open. You don't want to do that.
One of the biggest mistakes you can make is putting your generator too close to your home. Your generator should be at least 20 feet away from any doors or windows.
Don't buy a 20-foot extension cord. Buy a 30 or 40-foot, that way, and run it all the way out. That way you're a safe distance from the house. Use what you have.
When it comes to extension cords, make sure you are using one that is heavy duty and can go outside.
You don't want to use something that's frayed or wrong size gauge. If you're powering a bigger appliance, you don't want to go from a thin cord to a big cord.
Once you've got your cord, plug your appliances directly into the generator.
You just want to do point to point.
So power strips are a big no-no?
Big no-no.
Okay.
Yes.
And those burn injuries Vita mentioned earlier can be avoided.
People will use the generator, all day, let it run out, let the fuel run out, and then they go to fill it while it's hot. Give it a little bit. Your fridge is going to be fine. You can deal without lights for a couple minutes, let it cool off, and then fill it appropriately.
Now, we have much more information on our website at clickorlando.com/hurricane, checklists of things to get prepared with, explanations of different storm terms that you should familiarize yourself with. All of that is available at clickorlando.com/hurricane, and all week long, we will be doing special coverage to help you get prepared for any storms. Of course, you can also download the News 6 weather app. Just search WKMG in your app store, and that will give you any updates as needed when there is a storm, if there is a storm. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll be taking a look at how schemers are using Netflix, your Netflix account, to try and get access to your personal information. All that's coming up in just about 2 minutes.
Are you feeling some aches and pains? Well, you can take control of your health with a little bit of biohacking. You ever heard of that?
It basically means making changes to your own body to improve your health and performance. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it, like through compression therapy. It's offered at Augment of Wekiva Springs, and Ashley Roseberry is trying it for the first time today. Her leg wrapped in a special cuff to target one of her health concerns.
Circulation is a big one, and I do a lot of traveling. I'm on an airplane or in a car behind a computer a lot. I'm aching because I've been sitting for too long.
The cuffs fill with air, creating strong compression and then releasing. Studies showing the therapy increases blood flow, reduces muscle soreness and swelling, and improves circulation.
It got super tight. Tight, yeah.
One of the trending strategies is cold plunge hydrotherapy. Owner Natal Ravid says scientific research shows spending some time in an ice-cold bath improves the vascular system while helping with swelling and muscle recovery.
Inside the water, there is a restriction of the vascular system. When we go out, it's open and the blood flashes back into our vessels.
He and his wife Nitsan invited me to try it out.
Oh my goodness. And that's a freak out. And now we're breathing.
Okay.
In from your nose.
Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So this process is not a long process, obviously. You don't want somebody in here for a long time.
No, we recommend up to 5 minutes.
Okay.
Some customers say the cold dip also helps their mental health.
We feel revitalized, energized, a lot of endorphins kicking in there.
Other biohacking strategies include infrared therapy with saunas, hyperbaric chambers, float tanks, and light therapy. And the owners of Augment say they're not doctors, but biohacking can be beneficial to anyone, not just athletes, who want to try it out and help improve their health and wellness.
From Altamont Springs, Crystal Moyer, News 6.
Crystal is braver than I would not take that icy dip, certainly not on camera. Every week, News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden gives us a heads up on the latest schemes and ripoffs that are out there, people trying to target you and your money. This week, he is talking about people who are using Netflix accounts to get access to your personal information. Here's how you can protect yourself.
Netflix accounts are ubiquitous. But in the age of AI, spotting what's real and what's fake is becoming more and more difficult.
We are seeing an uplift in Netflix-related scams.
Corinne Zilberstein is vice president of product at Guardio, a cybersecurity company built to secure consumers' digital lives. She says in the third and fourth quarters of last year, Netflix made their top 10 list of the most imitated companies.
Netflix is an all-year scam because there are so many people using Netflix that the hackers don't need to do anything special.
Be on the lookout for smishing text messages popping into your phone, claiming your account is temporarily locked due to irregular activities. And there's a link that takes you to a website that looks like the real deal, trying to get your login information.
Their username and their password will belong to the hacker, which can now use them to access the account. And as you know, the account has financial information.
Also look out for phishing emails claiming to be from Netflix with enticements like getting paid to watch Netflix, and emails asking you to update your account information. If you think there could actually be a problem with your account, go to Netflix yourself. Don't Google Netflix because now scammers can get fake websites in search engines. Actually type in netflix.com on your phone or device and log in that way. Getting results, I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6.
They're always looking for ways to get one over on you. That'll do it for us here on News 6 Extra. That'll do it for us here on News 6 Extra. I hope you all enjoy your Memorial Day and that you're able to also take some time to reflect on the sacrifices of our servicemen and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty and to protect our freedoms. So we will now let you go for the day, but we'll be back starting at 5:30 today. No News 6 at 4 or 5, but we will be back at 5:30 through the 6:30 half hour with all of your forecast. News 6 meteorologist Samara Kokinas will be in for Jonathan Kegas and Julie Broughton, and she'll have all your forecast details, and of course we'll have all of the day's headlines. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a pleasant day.